All right, so in this video, I'm gonna be explaining how you can actually become superhuman and operate like an athlete, which it all comes down to your sleep, as cliche as that sounds. But in this video, I'm gonna actually explain the things that really help you get the best sleep possible so that you can wake up feeling fresh and not groggy and tired and actually have energy all day, every day, so you can operate like a freaking high performance athlete instead of a super groggy average person. So that you can obviously reach incredible goals and do whatever it is that you're looking to do.
If you don't know me, I'm Logan Lesser. I've won over 15 state motocross championships and an amateur national championship. I'm an extreme sports athlete, and over the past 6 years, I fielded over 7 different businesses, built a marketing agency to $30K a month, and spent over $30,000 learning from the best in business, personal branding, fitness, and mindset. I've lived and worked from London, Bali, and Cape Town. Now I'm sharing everything I've learned and continue to learn here on YouTube and even deeper inside my free newsletter. If you want to join, link is in the description below.
All right, now the first thing is to wake up at the same time every single day. And I know how common that sounds of information, but I'm going to explain to you why. And I'm also going to give you a little trick that most people don't know about that will make you wake up feeling fresh and energized instead of super groggy and tired, because that's something I used to deal with a lot. So here's the thing, and here's why you actually want to wake up at the same time every day and ideally go to bed at the same time every day as well. And it's because of your circadian rhythm. Your body and brain releases chemicals on a schedule like cortisol and other wake up hormones. And when you're constantly bouncing around with your schedule and going to bed at a different time, waking up at a different time, it literally tricks your brain and makes it confused about when you're supposed to be tired and when you're supposed to wake up. So you can imagine it as literally you are making your brain guess when you're supposed to be alive. So if you have a strict schedule where you are sticking to the same bedtime and the same wake up time, your brain will get used to that schedule and it will literally release the chemicals inside of your mind that literally tell your mind and whisper to it to go to bed. And then it'll also release the chemicals at the right time, telling your brain when it's time to wake up. So that will allow you to A, be able to fall asleep way faster at night, and B, be able to wake up feeling more energized. And something, which this is the trick that I mentioned before, is that your circadian rhythm and basically your sleep cycle works on a 90-minute timeline or a 90-minute cycle. So you basically go from like light sleep to I think it's REM sleep and then deep sleep. I might be missing one in there, but I think it's light, REM, and deep. And basically you cycle through that every 90 minutes. And ideally what you want to do is you want to wake up when you're in light sleep, because that is when you're going to feel the most energized and fresh. Whereas if your alarm goes off when you're in the middle of deep sleep, that's when you feel like a zombie and you can't even imagine getting out of bed because you feel so freaking tired and groggy. So what you want to do is when you set your alarm, you want to set it in increments of 90 minutes, depending on how much sleep you want to get. So 90 minutes, that would be either 6 hours, 7.5 hours, or 9 hours. Because basically, if you start from like when you first go to bed and you go 90 minutes, 90 minutes, 90 minutes, 90 minutes, then it'll go to 6 hours, 7.5 hours, or 9 hours. Because most likely you want to wake up between that timeline. I'm assuming you don't want to get 4.5 hours of sleep. But ideally set your alarm around there, and that should help you try and wake up more around when you're in that light sleep stage, so that you wake up feeling more fresh and energized. Now, the second point is to sleep for 7.5 to 9 hours like your life depends on it. And here's a really interesting research and study stat that really changed my mind about this and changed me from wanting to be the 6-hour grind mode guy to actually getting enough sleep, which is that studies and research have actually found that somebody who sleeps for only 6 hours a night for 2 weeks is actually ends up operating like somebody who is legally drunk, even though they feel fine. And the sciencey stuff is that during deep sleep, your brain is literally repairing damaged cells. And during REM sleep, it's organizing memories and solving problems that you couldn't crack while you were awake. This is why you've probably heard people say, like, whatever it is that you were trying to figure out during the day or whatever, sleep on it, because literally your subconscious mind is still working through those problems, and sometimes you're able to wake up with the solution. But overall, this goes back to the main point of high-level people don't operate like robots. Like a robot doesn't need to sleep. It can just go, 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 go. High-level people operate like athletes. And what's one of the top priorities that athletes have in order to perform at their best? It's not go, go, go and train all the time. And for motocross, it's not riding all the time every single day. That's usually what leads to you getting hurt. What they need to prioritize almost above everything else is their recovery. Like they have to prioritize their recovery. And it's the same thing for high level people. High level people are making sure they get the amount of sleep they need because they know that when they get the right amount of sleep and they get quality sleep, that they're going to be operating at the highest level that they could. Like I've heard Alex Hormozi say, he doesn't even set an alarm. He just goes to bed at the same time every night and he just sleeps as long as his body needs to, which that right there is him saying he makes sure he gets as much sleep as his body needs to make sure he's fully rested. And he literally made a joke and he was like, yeah, when I get a full 8 hours of sleep, or I think he even said 9 hours. He was like, when I get 9 hours of sleep, I turn to Layla, his wife, and he's like, I'm going to be able to cure cancer today. Like, give me the biggest problems that we have to solve because I am going to be on it today. So that's the power of getting a full night's sleep. And the third one, and this is honestly one of the most important ones, at least for me, is cutting caffeine after noon. Because caffeine blocks the chemical adenosine, which is basically the brain chemical that whispers to your mind that it's time to rest. And what that does is that if you have caffeine at like 2 p.m., caffeine has a half-life of 6 hours, which means that it could be in your system all the way up until around 12 hours later. So if you have caffeine at 2 p.m., that caffeine could still be in your system, blocking adenosine, blocking you from being able to actually enter deep sleep up until 2 a.m. So if you wake up at 6, that means you might only have potentially 4 hours of actual sleep. And in those 4 hours, that means you wouldn't even be able to go through 2 full sleep cycles from light REM to deep like we talked about before, because each of them are 90 minutes long. So just think about that. So if you stop drinking caffeine at noon, then since it has a half-life of 6 hours, oftentimes it's out of your system after only about 10 hours, just depends on the person and your makeup and everything and your biology, then that means that it should be out of your system by 10 p.m., which is usually when people go to bed. So then you can go to sleep and actually enter a deep sleep. Because that caffeine in your system, you can imagine it as if it's blocking it's keeping your mind in shallow water versus allowing it to dive deep like it's supposed to when you are sleeping. And for me personally, which I'll give you an extra trick here to have the most energy throughout the day, and I learned this from Dr. Andrew Huberman, which is I cut off caffeine at 10 a.m. So that's the last bit of caffeine that I have, or at least I try to. Sometimes I go over that, but I cut it off at 10 a.m. just to make sure, even if it's in my system 12 hours, or yeah, if it takes 12 hours to get out of my system, that's out of my system by 10 p.m., which is when I go to bed. But I will also wait 90 minutes after waking up before I have any caffeine. And that is because your body needs to, I forgot the chemicals and everything like that. I'm not an actual like scientist or anything, but basically your body releases chemicals that basically wakes you up. And caffeine blocks those chemicals from being released correctly. So if you wake up and have caffeine, as soon as you wake up, you are blocking those chemicals from naturally letting your body wake up. And that's what leads to having those like midday crashes and the afternoon dips in energy and stuff like that. Whereas if you wait 90 minutes, which is what I do every single day, it allows your body to wake itself up naturally. And then the caffeine is added on as a bonus. And that's what helps prevent those like afternoon dips in energy and everything like that. So anyway, those are the main things that have helped me a lot, just getting better sleep, waking up feeling more energized and having more energy throughout the day and just feeling on it all day long. So hopefully that helps you out. But I used to be guilty of the grind more, sleep less mentality. But then I started learning this stuff. And I also started noticing it because when I would only sleep for like 5 or 6 hours and I'd get up and yeah, I'd have more hours to work on my business and everything, but I would feel so tired and I'd literally be sitting here at my chair like practically, I'd struggle to even keep my eyes open. I can tell you right now, the person who got 9 hours of sleep is going to be able to way outperform me in the less hours that he has to work versus me getting 6 hours of sleep and just kind of sitting here practically dozing off during my work hours. So I highly recommend implementing these things, and I can almost guarantee you'll notice a massive, massive difference. And with that being said, if you want deep in-depth content like this, but if you like to read, then feel free to join my newsletter, which is linked in the description below. You can also find my other links down there, such as to Six Figure Freelancer, which is my free program I put together that teaches you how to become a remote working freelancer just like I am. I actually don't make money through YouTube and social media or anything like that. I make money as a video editing freelancer, and I put together a free program showing exactly how to actually do it and how I do it. So you can check that out in the link in the description. And with that being said, I will see you in the next video. Peace.